Okay, hopefully everybody gave the brick a try last week and they liked it and everybody had some success. I know that those have been some of my most memorable days that I've had training with training partners. And oh yeah, that brings up a good point too. If you're training with training partners, realize your training partners probably won't be there on race day. And so you don't want to get in the habit of drafting on each other, not because I would think that you would draft in the race because you practice drafting, but because it mentally gives you a break in training. And one of the things we're trying to do is we're trying to mentally prepare for the race and the demands of the race. And you having to stay focused is so critical in staying engaged when there could potentially be no other stimulus around. So practice. If you are going to ride with your friends, make sure you're doubling up the draft zone so you're going double the distance. You trade and that type of stuff, and it will definitely help. But make sure you're going it alone. Now, I'm throwing another cool curveball at you this week, actually, too. I'm introducing a style of running that we like to call envelope running. And so you can even Google, there's an article out there that Jim Vance wrote called Envelope Run. And so what it's doing is it's asking you to take yourself right up to the edge where you're comfortable, but if you went any harder at all, you would no longer be comfortable, you'd be uncomfortable. And we do not want you to cross that threshold. We want to push the envelope right to that edge, right? And so that speed and that effort will vary based on how you're feeling and how long the race is. So obviously, your reasonable comfort level for a 5K is going to be very different than your reasonable comfort level for an Ironman run, right? And so one of the things that I recommend all my athletes to do is all this data that we use for training, because athletes are good at collecting data, should all be teaching you how you feel and learning to process that and make decisions on race day based on how things are going. At the end of the day, you have to be able to ask yourself, how am I feeling? Relative to the distance or the demands of the race that I have left, how I feel right now, am I good to go with the amount of energy that I'm putting forth to finish the race and not drop off on energy? Practice that. Think about things that you can do to increase your speed without working harder. Okay? At the end of the race, if I yelled, come on, you can push, just go a little bit harder, you'd be like, no, man, I'm totally smoked. Like, I can't go any harder. But you can think about good running posture, a good cadence and turnover, relaxing your shoulders, a good forward lean. You can do things that help you run faster without working harder. So that's one of the things that you'll see on Wednesday, which I did make a little bit longer because as you see, you have no long run this week. You have another Ironman type simulation day, which is cool. This one, I do want you to try to break and squeeze them together as the best you can for two reasons. One, it's going to simulate obviously better the race and how you're going to feel coming off the bike. But the other thing that I find is a lot of people do not swim then bike very often, at least in close proximity, and they wonder why on race day their heart rates are elevated when they've never gotten out of the swim and hopped on their bike, potentially all year, right? So I realize logistically it's just not possible sometimes, but if you can take your bike and put it in your car and do your swim and then go to the parking lot and ride from where you swim, that would be amazing, you know? So if you have the opportunity, practice that. If you have to swim and then drive home, not the end of the world. So make sure you're dialing in all your nutrition, everything you want to practice for race day. Now is the week to do it because from here on in, we're locking in all your plans and we're going to go hard all the way into race day. So I'll see everybody next week and I hope everybody enjoys the envelope run and the race simulation.